everybody, and welcome back to another video. I've been reading this for the past past 2 nights sort of, and I am halfway through it. This is The Colour Purple by Alice Walker. It is something. So there is quite a famous film adaptation which I don't really remember seeing. I do know I have watched parts of it when I was quite young, but I didn't really know what was going on or the proper topics because I was very young and I haven't watched it since. But I sort of had an idea of what it's all about. It's about a young black woman in the American South, and her growing up and dealing with lots of abuse. That is sort of what I had an idea of, but I didn't know the exact storyline. And also Oprah and Whoopi Goldberg are in that film, and they are icons. This book, it's set out in letters from our main character Celie, or Celie, I think. I don't actually know how to pronounce it. Celie. I'm gonna say Celie or Celie. But it's basically letters from her to God. And the first thing is, you better not tell nobody but God, it'll kill your mammy. And then it's a series of letters. They're all very quite short. Some are just a page length, some are 2 or 3 pages length. So it's very, very fast paced. They're all so the letters to God. And it's basically going from when she was 14, I think. Literally the first page is hard to get through. It gives a sense of the writing style and the topics, and the characters that you're gonna experience throughout the book. But basically, so when she's 14, she is raped by the person she calls Dad. And she becomes pregnant, and then he takes away her first baby and apparently kills them. And then she is subjected to it on multiple occasions, and she has another baby who he takes away and adopts out of her life. And then her mother dies on the second page, and then he is looking at Katie's sister Nettie, and she's no, she would do anything to save her sister. And then there's this other man that they just call Mr., but they don't say his last name, and he wants to marry Nettie, and he has children of his own, but then the dad is no, you ain't having Nettie because she's young and stuff. So he Kaylee's dad gives Kaylee to the other man, and then he rapes her and beats her and is just a really horrible person. And then she's has to look after his children and stuff. And then Nettie comes to see her for a bit, but then the man is you can go now. So Nettie runs away, and she doesn't hear from her for years later. And then it's just basically her in this really toxic relationship with her husband and his family and other characters. And there is some lightness in it, with certain relationships with her stepson's wife, and this main actress, singer woman called Shug Avery, who the husband is infatuated by, and then she becomes infatuated by him as well, because it hasn't been explicitly stated yet, but I very much believe that she is lesbian, because she says that she doesn't feel for men, she only has any desires towards women, especially this Shug Avery woman. And yeah, and then there's lots of things happen. Even though it's in letters, and there isn't a certain pacing, but it's just done so so well that it makes sense, and it follows just reading a story. and it's really like hard hitting, and it's very emotional and like sad, but it's so like transportive, and you literally can like get inside her head, and like then you're feeling like the things that she's feeling, and like it is a lot. It is very much a lot of a book. But yeah, and then afterwards she's found out, with the help of Shug, who is staying with them for a bit, that the husband has been keeping all these letters that Nettie has been sending her, and then she's like found them, and she's been going through them, and I've sort of like got to that point now. And Nettie, she basically was taken in by like a reverend and his wife and their children, who is actually Kaylee's children. And they're like missionaries, and she's talking about her like journey to Africa, and she's just arrived in Africa now to do like missionary work. And then I feel like the next part is another letter, so it's probably going to be her time in Africa. And then yeah, so I've only got halfway through, so I have still got quite like a lot of the story left. But I believe like they sort of like get in contact, but I'm obviously gonna update you again soon. But yeah, but I'm once again, I'm just not really feeling that good. My like flu symptoms have sort of went away a little bit, but they're still slightly there, so I don't want to go like out like in a busy place. So I just want to go for a little walk again. And I thought I'd take you along with me to the park, just because I thought I would. And so I've come to Golders Hill Park. I went to the pergola bit, had a little walk. I'm just sitting in the sun, which is nice, but it is still like cold. That's why I've got like a puffy jacket on. But yeah, I'm gonna read some more of The Colour Purple. Maybe hopefully like about 20 pages, and then I'm gonna go for another walk. Yeah. Hey, so I'm back now. Honestly, I didn't read much at all. But yeah, also my little walk did not do what it was intended to do. I still feel like quite crappy. I feel a little bit worse actually, to be honest. Also I developed a really bad migraine. But anyhow, I'm just gonna maybe watch it for a bit, then I hope to read some more of this later, maybe give you an update or tomorrow. And yeah. I'm like cold. Bye for now. So it's later in the day actually. Well, it's technically it's the next day, but it's currently 6 a.m. But anyway, I finished The Colour Purple. I just my headache eased a bit, so I was like, I'll go back to reading. And then I was just hooked. I literally just read it like the other half just like in one whole go. It did take me quite a while, still like a couple of hours, and then after I finished it, I took about maybe like an hour, maybe a bit more, trying to write like a review, which I've just posted on my Goodreads and StoryGraph if anyone wanted to read like the whole review. And I've just been trying to like get my head around my thoughts and try and like put them into like a concise something to share. But it's just it's I don't know. I'm not giving this 5 stars. It is a true, it is a masterpiece. It has thoroughly earned its place as a classic. It has a plethora of trigger warnings and explicit descriptions of extremely unimaginable like abuse and so much like horrific scenes. But I do feel everyone should read this book, and it's just to like portray such a like the emotive and horrifying like words and the depictions and everything, and to just induce such like a visceral response is just truly astonishing. It is exceptional. It was like, as I said, from the first page, it is you can see it is, she ain't messing around. She's got a story to tell and she's going to tell it. And it's hard, it is difficult to read, but it's the harsh reality of stories of young black women in this time period. And although it's fictional, many people can relate to certain aspects of it, which is very sad and disgusting. And it should, and even today, there's still relatability in it, and although we shouldn't be able to, there is. And yeah, so I don't know, Celie, you have my whole heart. You took it, you broke it, you incinerated it, you shattered it into a million pieces, but by the end you pieced it together, and it came together again. Yeah, a quick little note on some things I didn't necessarily like that much, and why I was sort of thinking about if I should maybe give it like a 4.75 or an actual 5 stars. But I was like, no, it's too much of a masterpiece. I cannot give it anything less than 5. But something I didn't like that much was maybe some of like the plot line, like things that went on. It's a bit like, okay, and there's like some like talk about like God and religion and stuff, but I really loved like the character Shug Avery's like her outlook on like this idea of God and like religion, and it was like really meaningful. And I don't usually like get that like meaningfulness from religious talk, but yeah, it was really good. And I like, in my review, I like linked to sort of like a little quote from this. Also, it does like jump a bit, like the letters, but it does flow like just like a normal story. If like the timeline is so exceptional, it makes total sense. And yeah, I went on like a little rant in my review because I was just like in the moment in my head, because I read a couple like 1-star ones on Goodreads. I don't know why I did that to myself, but lots of people was like, oh, it's anti-male, it's misandristic. I don't think I pronounced that word right, but the opposite of misogynistic. I'm like, okay, I kind of see a little bit what you're getting at, but it's not really that, it's a first person account from her experiences. She is a lesbian woman. She was raped multiple times at the age of 14 by the person she thought was her dad. She was basically, like, she had children that were taken away from her. She was sort of sold in a way to a man that was much older than her, that already had children, and a wife that died, into an extremely toxic relationship where he beat her and raped her, and she was forced to care for like his children. So she doesn't hate men, but she's had such disgusting, evil experiences with men that, like, they have truly impacted her, and you need to understand that it is her outlook, it is her POV, it is her letters to God, and then her sister. It's her story. It's not. She wasn't putting anything. She was just telling it like it is, because she didn't intend for anyone else to see it apart from God. Do you know what I mean? Like, yes, obviously we've read it because it's been put into a book, but in the context of the story, she is writing to God. She is writing for nobody else to read it. Like I think I said earlier in the first page, it says, you better not tell nobody but God, it'll kill your mammy. Like, it's all raw, it's all her experiences. And like, if you was in her situation, if you had these things done to you, then wouldn't you feel like that as well? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Also, there is nuances in these like male characters that are portrayed in the book, and there's some like character development and stuff. So I would really rebate that sort of like argument. Yeah, and it wasn't set out to be. It's just like, once you understand the whole context of where she's coming from, then it's not. It's just, I can't really, I don't know. But anyway, I don't really know what else to say. This video is probably going to be kind of long, even though I haven't really done that much. But I literally, I could just talk about this book for so long. It's so transportive. I didn't actually say like that much more of what happened like after, like, in the actual story, but basically it's just about like the sort of like the letters and stuff. And then well, I don't really want to give anything away, but like she's sort of like, yeah. Oh, and it's also what I didn't say about how like there is so much like mystery and horrific depictions of things, and that has happened with Celie, Nettie, and like all the other characters, like the female characters in the book, portraying such like the vileness of living in like a misogynistic societies, which we still have today. Things have gotten better, but it's still a thing. And it's only like a little portrayal of these few women in a little like a time frame, but these experiences can be extrapolated and related to like so many other like time frames and the modern day and different like cultures and places around the world. And it's just, yeah. And yeah, how like that they do experience such like bad things, but there is this glimmer of like hope in this darkness of despair. And that is a huge like main point from this, that it's like, no matter how bad things are and how like defeated you feel, they're still pining for light, a ray of sunshine, a ray of hope, a redemptive love, and it's just, it is something. Yeah, oh, I don't know, this book was so good. It was so sad, but it was just, oh god. Alice Walker, you did something. Read this book. You have to read this book. You have to read this book. So yeah, that is my review. I hope you enjoyed this video. I don't really know how it come together, but it's kind of just like unfiltered sort of one, because I'm just not really feeling the best mentally, so I don't really want to do too much editing and stuff, so I'm just gonna put it all together, post it, and yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully I'll be feeling a bit better soon, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.